Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Fred Shinbur, and you are watching Through a Veteran's Eye. Our program today will provide you veterans, veterans' families, and veterans' friends with information concerning benefits and services that are available. Once again, this program is our way of saying thanks for all you as veterans have done for this great nation. I remind you of the telephone number of Maryland's Commitment to Veterans Behavioral Health Services, which is a hotline for veterans and their families needing help with behavioral health issues, as well as any other issues that veterans might encounter. That number is 1-877-770-4801. Welcome home. During our show today, we will provide more information about a major veteran-centric project that has been launched by Maryland Public Television. Their project is titled MPT Salutes Vietnam Veterans. And with us to discuss this project today is Mr. Tom Williams, who is the Managing Director of Communications for Maryland Public Television. And welcome, Tom.
Thank you, Fred. It's great to be with you.
Well, thanks for coming all the way up here to Hagerstown in Western Maryland to join us for this.
Well, it's a beautiful part of the state.
Thank you. I hope you'll feel that way when you leave home. You leave to go home today.
Absolutely.
Well, Tom, if you would please take us back to the origins of this project and why Maryland Public Television.
Certainly, Fred. The impetus for this program comes out of an initiative that was staged in 2010 by Wisconsin Public Television. Wisconsin Public Television had an idea and a desire to honor and salute the state's Vietnam veterans. And after doing a lot of research, a lot of talking with veterans, they staged a program called LZ Wisconsin, which is Landing Zone Wisconsin. That comprised of a 3-day event at Lambeau Field to honor veterans, as well as a multi-part documentary featuring the stories of that state's veterans. Maryland Public Television was aware of this initiative. We sent several of our people to the state to check out all that they were doing in their planning and their execution. And I think it became very clear to our team that this was an ideal way to, in our state, and adapt it to our state's needs and our veterans, a similar program to honor our veterans as well.
Excellent. And I'm very partial to the Vietnam veterans myself. Well, what are the, I assume there are several parts to this project. What are some of the major components?
There are several, Fred. As I mentioned, a documentary film that was done in Wisconsin is also one of the major foundations of our program for Maryland Public Television and our Salute to Veterans. Our executive producer, Ken Day, and his team have been spending several years now working on the documentary. That started with listening sessions with veterans to hear about their stories and their experiences, and ultimately shooting hundreds of hours of tape of our veterans hearing about their stories and really doing an oral history of sorts of, I believe now, about 100 Maryland veterans over 3 parts, 1 hour each, that will air coming up in May of 2016. So that's one element. The other is our own LZ Maryland. My colleague Kristen is going to speak with you soon about all of the components of that, but that will be a 2-day event, a salute, a tribute, and a celebration of our Vietnam veterans at the Maryland State Fairgrounds in Timonium on Father's Day weekend, and that's June 18th and 19th, I believe, of 2016. Kristen will tell you a lot more about that. We have an honor ride as well. Various motorcycle associations, veterans motorcycle groups, and others will gather and come into the fairgrounds as part of a ride to further honor our state's Vietnam veterans. And there's also an educational component. Our education team at MPT has been working with middle school and high school social study educators to put together a program that will aid our students in learning more about that period of our history and about our veterans and their contributions to our country.
Wow, excellent. Sounds like a huge project. Can you tell us a little bit more about the documentary that you mentioned in May of 2016?
Sure.
A little bit more about that.
We have a 3-hour documentary. It will be broken up into 1-hour increments, and it will air on Maryland Public Television, premiere for the first time on May 24th, 25th, and 26th, and that's just prior to the Memorial Day weekend coming up. And what you'll see, as I had mentioned earlier, are the first-hand accounts and stories of more than 100 of our state's Vietnam veterans. And these are veterans that come from all parts of our state, from far western Maryland, across our state, and to the Eastern Shore. And you're hearing the stories of servicemen and women from the various branches of our military. You'll hear about their experiences in country, as well as after they returned home. You'll hear from their families. You'll understand, I think, more clearly what it is that all of them experienced, and at times the difficult things that they endured as part of their service. But I think you also see the patriotism and the love of country that comes through in those stories as well.
Well, it sounds exciting. Sounds pretty powerful. I like to use the word powerful. What happens to that film after it's aired?
I'm glad you asked, because we have so many hundreds of hours of footage of many, many veterans. We could not fit everything that they offered during their time on camera into the 3-hour documentary. So all of this footage will be archived at the Maryland Historical Society, and it will live there for people for decades to come to inspect and view and then further understand what it is that our soldiers and sailors and airmen and Coast Guardsmen and women did while they were over in Vietnam.
Excellent. That's excellent. I'm impressed with this. Well, at the conclusion of this next June, what does MPT hope to get out of this? What do they hope the impact be?
That's a great question, Fred, and it really comes back to the goal of this initiative at Maryland Public Television. And that is, we understand that our servicemen and women really did not get the proper acknowledgement and welcome home at the end of their service. This was a very tumultuous time in our nation's history, and really what we want to do first and foremost is thank them. It's critical that we finally and properly thank our servicemen and women from the Vietnam era. We also want generations that experienced that time in our history, as well as those that have come afterward, to more fully understand and appreciate what has taken place during those years of the Vietnam War and afterwards when it comes to our veterans. So I think building that understanding, that knowledge will certainly enhance everyone's appreciation of the contributions of our Vietnam veterans. So we're very excited about this program.
Oh, absolutely. And I can see why. Well, I just hope that we get a lot of feedback and get a lot of our Western Marylanders involved in this and get them to come out next June. It's the one time that we as Vietnam veterans can celebrate and feel good about it. Just real quickly, how can viewers get involved with her?
Well, that's really important. Different types of involvement from both veterans and those who care about our veterans. We certainly have a lot of ways that people can become involved, especially in the area of volunteering. But you can go to Maryland Public Television's website, mpt.org/Vietnam, to learn a lot more about our project. And if you like social media, you can join our social media sites. We have one on Facebook as well as Twitter, and just search for Maryland Public Television or MPT Salutes Vietnam Veterans, and you'll access our social media sites and learn all about the things that are taking place here in the weeks and months leading up to the program.
Tom, thank you so very much for being here today. We appreciate your time and your input. Thank you.
You're welcome, Fred.
We'll be right back after this short break. I am joined by Ms. Kristen Pinchek, Managing Director of Special Events and Community Engagement. Welcome, Kristen. Thank you so very much for coming all the way to Hagerstown from Owens Mills. Appreciate this.
Thanks for having me.
In a nutshell, what is LZ Maryland?
LZ Maryland is a 2-day event that we are hosting at the Maryland State Fairgrounds. And the purpose of it is to honor and thank our Vietnam veterans from Maryland.
Okay, we heard previously from one of your colleagues about a little bit about it, but we'd like to know a little bit more in depth about what is going on. So you indicated it's going to be held where again?
It's going to be held at the Maryland State Fairgrounds on June 18th and 19th of 2016, which is Father's Day weekend.
Okay. And where is Maryland State Fairgrounds?
In Timonium.
Okay, Timonium, Maryland. And the dates you said happen to be Father's Day weekend.
They do.
And we have a lot of events planned. Is that the? Well, let's get into the operational parts of it. Are there hours, I guess?
Absolutely. We're open from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Saturday and 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Sunday. But doors will open at 9:30 in the morning to make sure that people can get in and get to where they want to be as soon as things kick off.
Well, this being middle of June, of course it can be either hot or rainy or both. Anything indoors, outdoors? What can we expect as far as weather is concerned?
Little bit of everything. We are actually taking over the entire fairground facility, which is more than 100 acres in total. We're going to have indoor activities as well as outdoor activities. The indoor spaces are air conditioned, which can certainly help with the heat. The outdoor spaces will be tented in most cases, which will certainly help if there's any inclement weather. We're really looking forward to it.
And we're going to have plenty of seating, and because some of us will need some help to get around and get tired of walking. So I assume
there will be ample seating at lots of places to rest, indoors and outdoors. There will also be an internal tram system put into place. So if anybody needs assistance getting from one end of the fairgrounds to another, we can certainly help with that as well.
And I guess to follow up with that, the one end of the fairgrounds to the other, so you'll have major events from one end to that'll people will need to see both of them?
Absolutely. We encourage people to come and plan to spend hours on location. There will be a ton to do and participate in.
And the parking, as always on an event like this, can be kind of a bummer. Some people will not go because
Absolutely.
of parking issues. What's that about?
So there is ample parking at the State Fairgrounds. It's certainly not going to accommodate everybody, but in addition to the parking that's available on site, there's lots of off-site parking that's available surrounding the fairgrounds, as well as we are on a light rail stop. So individuals can certainly park anywhere along the light rail and then take the light rail up and hop right into the fairgrounds easily.
Isn't that near an interstate as well?
It is. It's right off of Route 83. The fairgrounds are very easy to get to, and there's a number of different entrances for people to get into them.
Great. Well, I'm a 60s and 70s kind of a guy. What kind of entertainment? You going to have any my era entertainment?
Absolutely. You will enjoy it. There are going to be 3 stages that are going to be sporadically placed throughout the fairgrounds. A main stage, which will be on the infields of the racetrack, which will have all sorts of entertainment. We're not going to quite announce exactly who we're bringing just yet, but rest assured you will be entertained. All of the music will be in the 50s, 60s, and 70s genre. We'll also have a utility stage that will take place in a different exterior area for a lot of our local and regional bands, also playing that same area of music. And then we're going to have an auxiliary stage, which will be inside. So individuals who want to spend some time out of the heat and listen to some more acoustic style spoken word, there'll be a lot for them to enjoy.
I was hoping we'd be able to break something right here on Through a Veteran's Eye about who the guest may be, the entertainment, but I guess not.
Hang tight,
Okay.
More to come.
All right, other than the entertainment, is there something else in store besides musical groups?
Absolutely. There's going to be so much for individuals to enjoy and to partake in when they're there. There's going to be a large map, which will be an enormous replica of the theater of the war. Individuals will actually be able to walk on it, take a Sharpie with them, and actually sign their name where they were stationed when they were in country. Indoors, we will have an R&R family zone area, a marketplace, a veteran services village, and another area of the fairgrounds will be an artifact gallery. There will be a writer's hooch where individuals can speak with and listen to presentations and readings from authors who served during the Vietnam War. Some of them even wrote stories about their experiences there.
Are they Maryland Vietnam veterans, these
Absolutely,
authors? Okay.
Absolutely. Maryland area. There will be some from Pennsylvania, District of Columbia, and Virginia because they're all from our general region. There will also be an art gallery. There will be an artifact area, a veteran services village, which we're really excited about, which will contain a number of organizations who offer products, services, and materials for veterans. So we're really excited about it.
Well, what can, as an attendee, you mentioned several events, exhibits, displays, what can an attendee actually expect?
Oh my gosh, there's so much when they come around. A lot of this they can partake in as much or as little as they want to. In addition to all of these different organizations that they can go see, we are excited about what's going to take place during the infield, which is an area that we're going to offer a number of reunion zones. One of our goals with this particular event is to invite a lot of our veterans back to see one another again. So this is an area that they'll actually be able to do that, reconnect with folks who they may have not spoken to in decades.
They, when you were talking earlier about attendees, when we talked about attendees, is this just for Vietnam veterans, or is this a family event? Or
no, we want everyone humanly possible to come to this. Obviously, first and foremost, the purpose of this event is to honor, acknowledge, and thank our Vietnam veterans. So we certainly want all Vietnam veterans to come out. However, we certainly hope that those veterans will bring their families. We hope that we'll have veterans and active duty servicemen and women who are presently serving, as well as the general public. The other part of this particular event is to educate individuals about what took place during this tumultuous time.
I think that's the key right there, is the education. So it's great to make it a family event.
Absolutely.
After all, I think you and Tom talked about Father's Day weekend. So
absolutely.
It's a good opportunity for the children, grandchildren to take pops or dad to a destination kind of thing.
Sure.
Are there events for kids or anything? Or are they going to have, or are they just going to be following around saying, I used to do this, or what? Are they going to be tasked to do something?
Now, there will definitely be activities for children to engage in. This is not going to be your standard carnival style event. We certainly want to recognize and honor our veterans appropriately, but we certainly want children to feel welcome and to enjoy themselves. For example, there will be a boot camp area, so children will actually get to get physical and let some of that energy out and see what some of our servicemen and women have had to endure, modified, of course, with the boot camp. Inside, there'll also be an arts and crafts area where children will get to create different types of arts and crafts projects that are specific to the military and what happened during the Vietnam War.
Wow, well, this being a massive, in the short time we have left, how's this being funded?
Great question. This is a project that is being 100% funded above and beyond everything that Maryland Public Television does. As you might guess, if you've ever watched MPT before, you've certainly seen the pledge phones and you understand how we have to raise money in order to be on air. This project is completely separate. This is being funded solely by individuals, by corporations, foundations, and sponsors from across the state and some internationally, which we're really excited about. But it certainly is an undertaking that we are raising money specifically for. If we achieve our goals, our plan is to create a separate account so that we can continue this work and honor veterans on an annual basis.
Excellent. Good. And I think that's important for viewers to know, that that the money isn't going in to fund some of the project,
Correct.
but it is going to be veteran-centric and veteran-related. Well, Chris and I, thank you very much for coming up here. It sounds like there's a lot going on. I appreciate the time and the effort, and maybe before next June we'll get you back.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you.
We'll be right back after this short break. Thank you. I am now joined by Miss Jessie Campbell, who is the Director of Special Events at Maryland Public Television. Welcome, Jessie.
Hi, Fred. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for coming to Hagerstown. I certainly appreciate it. What is the MPT Salutes Vietnam Veterans Traveling Exhibit? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so the traveling exhibit is helping to promote this great initiative that MPT is doing. And the exhibit consists of 19 panels, an artifact case, an engagement activity, and it really helps promote, like I said, MPT's multifaceted, multi-year Vietnam Veterans Initiative. And the exhibit's making its way through Maryland, around Maryland through June of 2016.
Well, what can attendees expect to see when they come there?
Yeah, so the panels, we have 16 veteran panels, and these veterans are Maryland veterans that are appearing in the Maryland Vietnam War Stories documentary that's airing in May. We have 2 overall initiative panels that help describe the initiative, that promote the documentary, and the 2-day event, LZ Maryland, which is happening June 18th and 19th. And we also have the Theater of War panel that describes some of the areas that these men and women served when they were in country. There is also an engagement activity where folks can come out and they can write a letter to a veteran thanking them for their service, and kids can also color a picture. And we're collecting these sheets, and we're going to put them on display at LZ Maryland. There's also an artifact case that has artifacts from the war. We've had some of our servicemen and women donate some items, so you can expect to see some sea rations, a steel pot, a flak jacket, and much more.
You mentioned earlier about children and writing letters. Do people actually take time and do this?
They do. We actually had a really great response so far. Kids from 4 years old to adults who have served in the war have participated in the engagement activity, so the response has been great.
And what do they do? I realize they don't sign them probably, but other than thank you, Jesse, or something to that effect. What type of message do they send?
It's mostly a message of thanks. We have had a couple of folks share their own story, which has been really interesting to hear. But it's really, it helps with the message and engaging the folks for the initiative.
Well, let's go back one more. You talked about drawing, I think some drawing. Do the 4-year-olds actually draw pictures? And what kind of pictures do they draw?
So there's coloring sheets. We have one coloring sheet that says, it's some dog tags that said, thank you for your service. So yes, the 4-year-olds do participate, but we also have some older kids that really let their creativity shine. And we also have a Huey helicopter coloring sheet, and that's been very popular.
And what are you doing? What are your plans again to do with these?
We are going to collect them throughout the different locations that the traveling exhibit's going, and put them on display at LZ Maryland, our 2-day event.
They're going to be on display. Are there any plans digitizing them or putting them on?
Absolutely. So we are, to keep them nice and preserved, we are scanning them in, and hopefully can put them on our website for many more people to see.
Oh, I think that'd be great right there. That's a good idea to make them available to the public, and I think that'd be a good draw. That's excellent. The same with the letters as well, not just the drawings, but I think the letters would be great too. Well, where's the exhibit now?
The exhibit is in town. It's at the Washington County Public Library in Hagerstown, and it'll be there through December 7th.
And it's at the library?
The library in Hagerstown.
Okay. And when was it first there?
We just moved it today.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And they're open to whenever the library is open?
That's exactly right. And folks can go to the atrium area, and it's surrounding the lobby.
And does it look nice?
It does. It looks very nice. Yes, people, we've had a really good reception from folks. Really like to enjoy. They take the time to read the panels and engage in the activities and that sort of thing.
Well, I've seen some of the panels, and they have some quotations from the veteran, and some of those quotations are quite powerful.
Absolutely.
And then the picture of them during Vietnam, is that right?
Yes.
And then the current.
And then their current day.
Picture. It's amazing how they've all changed.
Yes.
And that's always pretty interesting. Well, from Hagerstown here, where's it headed to next?
We're actually headed west to Frostburg University, and it'll be there through December 21st. So when the students at Frostburg we're catching them right before they're getting ready to go on winter break. So. Oh,
that's great.
So there'll be lots of visibility there.
Let's go back to Hagerstown again. Was it not in Hagerstown at another location?
Yes, it was. It was at the University of Maryland System Building, just down the street. So that also got a lot of traction. A lot of students were able to see it, and it's great to see the different generations, taking the time to learn more about the war and the veterans that
Very
served.
good. Yeah, sorry that this program misses that.
Yes.
But right now it is at the Hagerstown Library.
Yes.
And encourage all of the viewers to make time and go down and see this special exhibit. Get involved and let the Vietnam veterans know that you appreciate the sacrifices they made. Well, that's actually pretty wonderful, I think, that this exhibit. Obviously, I've seen it, and I think it's pretty fitting for what the message is trying to get across to our Vietnam veterans. I assume if someone is sponsoring this, this has got to be an expensive
Yes.
activity. Someone is sponsoring this?
Yes, absolutely. The traveling exhibit was made possible with the support of the SunTrust Foundation. So we were very grateful with them to work with us and to get this exhibit out. And like I said, it's been very well received. It's a beautiful exhibit.
That's absolutely wonderful. And imagine it gets you pretty involved with this, traveling all over the state.
Yes.
And trying to do all this by yourself, or do you do this by yourself?
No, I don't do it by myself. I've definitely become a tourist in my own town, but I go with my colleague Kristen, and we've actually got the support of a moving company recently to help us expedite the moving. So that's been great.
Wonderful. Well, if people want to help, or they want to know about it, or maybe they may even want to exhibit this somewhere, or portions of it, what can they do? How do they go about this?
The easiest way is to go to mpt.org, or they can call me directly at 410-581-4071, and we can discuss the exhibit schedule and see if there's an opening.
And is it pretty much booked, though? Or there...
It is. Yes, the exhibit has gained a ton of popularity, so we have we're pretty much booked, but we have some promotional banners that are available to stay for maybe a shorter amount of time or for a special event, and that schedule is filling up too. But we can always make room because it helps get the word out about this very important initiative.
Great. Well, Jessie, thank you so very much for coming up here and for what you're doing with this exhibit.
Thank you so much.
I deeply appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I thank you for watching. I'm Fred Shinbur, and this is Through a Veteran's Eye. Thank you.